When I was 19 and in college, I used to go out drinking at bars or going to crazy house parties. One night around 12:30 a.m. I had fun drinking with classmates, then I decided to go home, but me, being a stupid and reckless person, forgot my house keys. I was still living with my parents at the time, so I got locked out of the house. I didn't want to wake them up as I know my strict dad would have gone ballistic. I eventually called my friend Andrew, who was still awake, and he allowed me to crash at his place for the night. He also was a student who lived with his parents. His house was big and had 6 bedrooms. He told me apparently his house was haunted by an old woman and a red-headed lady, but I never took any notice. I came into his house around 1:06 a.m. and by this time I wasn't drunk, and I was sobering up. However, I was tired yet still paid attention to my surroundings and had good balance. He and his little brother Mark went into the kitchen and he brewed some tea. I was at the entrance door to the kitchen, and inside the kitchen on the left side was another door. This door was the washroom, and most times it was open. As I stood at the entrance to the kitchen, Mark, in front of me, started talking about Power Rangers and Super Sentai. As we chatted for a bit, I noticed someone standing in the dark of the washroom. No light was on in that room, but the kitchen light was bright enough so you could see what or who was inside it. As Mark talked to me, someone captured my eyes. I looked at them and then at him, nodded my head. Then I looked again and noticed the figure. It was an old woman with short, curly, white hair, wearing a pink, somewhat light purple blouse and an apron. She stood there, facing the wall and the washing machine with her back turned to me, just like from the movie, The Blair Witch Project. I looked again to make sure it wasn't my imagination, and this time I felt her presence. As Mark continued to talk to me, this elderly lady stood there in silence, not moving once. I had never met this woman and I was surprised to see her. I assumed she was their grandma, and I thought maybe this was very rude. They were talking to me and not introducing her. It must have been a minute and a half as she stood there facing the wall, not allowing me to see her face. I was going to acknowledge her and say, "Hey guys, why have you not introduced me to this lovely lady?" And eventually I decided to do that, but the moment I was about to open my mouth and acknowledge her existence, she disappeared in a blink of an eye. The feeling of her presence gone in an instant. I was dumbfounded and speechless. I could swear there was a woman in the washroom. I thought, what the hell, there was a real woman. I saw her. And Mark stopped talking, turned his head around to the washroom and then back to me and said, "You know this place is haunted, right?" That was the first time I fully believed them and the first time I saw a ghost with my own eyes.